The main benefit is that it does what we're trying to do for every client on every project, which is make the resources, the budget, go as far as it can go.
So, right, we've talked enough garbage.
Yeah. Small talk done.
Yeah. Never mind that crap. Yeah. Let's talk some business.
Imagine a world.
Before you say that, you've got to set yourself. You've got to have all the pattern and then go, imagine a world.
What's that from?
Just someone that I used to see do presentations. We'll not go any further than that.
Okay.
You know, we'll protect the innocent.
Put that one.
We'll
Put that
protect
one
the
to
You
one
like to put a page break after the small talk.
Yeah.
A bit like yourself.
Yeah. And you always like to set it up. Imagine a world. Which is fair enough. It's fair enough.
I'm ready.
It was just that little
Tell me more.
that little gap that he took to set it up was always tickled us.
Just centered himself.
Yeah. Namaste. Now, join me as I take you on an audio-visual journey.
So who wants to intro this one then?
All right, that's Marc's bit.
Oh no, I don't want to. This is hard enough sat in like the captain's chair right in the middle of you two.
Well, you pick yourself a fancy chair if you want to be in the captain's chair. You've got to make it so on that introduction. Engage. That's the introduction, just engage. Podcast engaged.
I am becoming more like Patrick Stewart, aren't I?
No comment. No comment.
Anyway, I believe this podcast is all going to be about atomizing your content.
It's a very fancy way of saying it.
Yeah.
We should probably explain what that
I
means.
think we better really.
Yeah.
Repurposing, like,
Stuff and
in
that.
Geordie terms.
Okay. That's it done then.
Yeah.
Explanation over.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about this, and I actually say this quite a lot when talking to people in meetings or networking and stuff. And I say, what we make hasn't really changed in the 18 years since we started. What's changed is how we chop it up and how we distribute it. The content of what we make is the same, but the audience has changed a lot. So, you know...
The consumption of what we
well, yeah, because
produce
like
has changed.
back in the day when we first started out, we might make a 10 or 15 minute A to Z of a company, kind of not product, like a company promo video,
Mm-hmm.
and then press it onto 5,000 DVDs that they then mailed out physically to people that those days are obviously long gone. But the content of what would make would be the same. It's just chopped up and faster paced, really, isn't it?
Although we were kind of pioneering in the sense that when we gave them the 5,000 DVDs, we'll also say, do you want to upload it to YouTube as well? And they'd say, nah.
Never catch on.
Kids' website, that. Just stupid videos, and just funny videos.
To be fair,
yeah,
at the time it had
the
just
beginning,
launched. You could only it was capped at 10 minutes tops. It might have been quicker than that
It
anyway.
was 4:3.
Well, obviously. 240p as it's now known.
Yeah.
AK Nokia 3210 resolution, basically.
It's interesting though, actually, what you've just said about the corporate videos we used to make way back then being close to 20 minutes, more like a actual TV program in length.
Well, yeah, because it was
Than they
like
are
they had
now.
a brochure or something, and they're thinking often the client. I mean, this is typically more industrial clients, I suppose, but their thinking was, well, in the same way that websites had become the thing, you know, well, we need a website. What's the website? It's an online brochure for a lot of people back then. And video was just the same, wasn't it? It's like, well, that's everything about the company. No one could do business with us, possibly, unless they know everything about the company. So put it all in a video and then send it to them.
But even going back, look, let's say 15 years, different world, longer attention spans, less saturation of just content in general. And naturally, I think people just aimed more at engaged audiences, just focused more on getting it to the people that they knew would be interested in watching the 15
if you go
video.
back 15 years plus one, it's the launch of this, isn't it? That's the difference.
Yeah.
Or a big difference.
So yeah, we're talking about maximizing your video content by getting it on every channel that's relevant to your audience.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's relevant, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
not every channel, which I think is a problem some clients are probably bamboozled by. They think because they've seen it happening out there, and a video on TikTok, Instagram, you know, all the YouTube and so forth. It's like it's really what's best for them,
Mm-hmm.
and it might be only certain sections of the video need to go on one social media platform as opposed to other ones. So something that they would put out on LinkedIn would be different to maybe another social media channel like Facebook.
Well, should we break this down by thinking of some examples? So I'll throw out an example of like something that might happen in the real world. So there's a client that, and usually new clients come to us with an idea of the main platform they want to use. So let's, for this example, say that's TV. They want to do a 30-second TV commercial. They want to broadcast on Sky AdSmart and some terrestrial channels across the UK. So that's all they want to do. We go into production on it. We make the commercial. Then, whilst we're editing it, they say, oh, can we put it on YouTube as well? What do we do from there? What do we need to consider from there? And what's possible? We'll use that as the example first.
Mm-hmm. That's versioning though, isn't it? Is that atomizing?
It's both, I would say. Because the worst thing you can do is create, in this example, an advert for television and then just put it on other channels or other platforms, because it's not to say it won't get a response, but it won't necessarily get the biggest difference is if you run an advert on ITV tonight, unless you've pre-recorded it and you're watching it on catch-up, if it's live, you can't skip it, can you? But straight away on YouTube, after 6 seconds, you can skip it.
Mm-hmm.
Massive difference. Totally different consideration.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can answer this from authority because this has obviously happened before. So I know what we did. Actually, there was 2 separate examples. There was one where I think it was on the day of production, the client said, can we put this on YouTube as well? And in the second example, it was during the edit.
If I'm thinking of the same example you are, it wasn't even that they said, can we put this on YouTube as well? They said, we're going to put this on YouTube only, then take some learnings from that to then inform the thing that you're actually shooting today, which is a television advert.
Yeah. Well, basically, if we're in a situation where something has been created for a specific purpose, in terms of the material you've got, you're obviously a little bit more limited, aren't you? It's been shot in a certain way, so just in terms of the actual picture format, so it's for TV, it'll have been shot landscape, as I would call it, 16 by 9. When we shoot 30-second TV commercials, a lot of the time we're trying to get them shot in one day, so it's a very tight schedule, and you're not really getting. You don't come back with, we've got a load of additional footage that we don't need. It's tight. It's
unless I'm shooting them, I'll also overshoot one.
Oh, Matthew, yeah.
But it works out in the end sometimes. ER Kitchens, you could have got that one 3 different ways, Mark. I was dying on my arse all day filming it,
yeah,
but carried on making sure we got plenty
of toilets. What the hell do you need that for? Let's just get it, just in case.
You got the infrared camera out yet to get the heat version? Hey, you always want to have options in the edit, don't you think?
Well, when you can, but obviously a lot of the ones we do, you're finishing at like 8 o'clock and stuff. So and you've got what you need, so you finish and you go back and you edit according to the plan. So the format, to me, a lot of people I think get hung up on that. If it's shot a certain way, because you can get. There's some footage where it's like, you're not going to get a portrait version out of a landscape shot. It's just the nature of that shot. It's just not going to work very well. And if you'd known production, you would have shot it very differently. But I think it's more. I think audience is the key consideration for each different platform. A TV audience is massively different to how you would approach something on YouTube, as Matthew kind of described there. He's talking about a paid YouTube pre-roll, which obviously are those commercials that come on before the video that you want to watch. And we've all seen it. 5-second countdown. So for YouTube, you're thinking the most important thing here is that have to hook the audience in that 5 seconds and convince them not to skip.
Mm-hmm.
So usually that means asking a question or doing something that just doesn't quite sit right, and people need to watch more to kind of find out, well, what did that mean at the beginning? With a TV commercial, that is more at the end of it, isn't it?
Well, I was going to say there's another way. Some people, we don't tend to do this, but some people use the first 6 seconds to boil down the whole sales proposition into 1 or 2 sentences, don't they? So that even if you skip it, you've heard enough about what they're trying to sell you that you know whether you're interested or not.
Mm-hmm.
We don't tend to do that. We tend to go more down the teaser route, or leading with an important sales point, if not the whole message, just to kind of get people hooked. But it's same purpose, isn't it? It's about stopping them from clicking away. Well, I've heard kids refer to them as the skip ads.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what some people know them as.
Yeah,
that's what we're fighting against.
Whereas if you go in knowing that that's you need to create a YouTube commercial, you're gonna, as we have when we've known this ahead of time, shot a completely different beginning that doesn't even feature in the 30-second TV commercial. And it's also a lot to do with just knowing the demographics of those audiences as well. Like obviously, if you think if you've got to make a TikTok video, you're thinking, right, we're going much more into the kind of youthful side of the market. You're thinking, are people even watching this with sound anymore? Because a lot of TV commercials, for their sins, they might have a lot of VO, a lot of just dialogue in there. Absolutely useless if it's just going to be on one of these, if someone's just scrolling through Instagram or TikTok. It's got to be something that you can read.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that's said's got to be captioned.
And something to come back to with the landscape and portraits, kind of the consideration, obviously, in the frame when we're filming. But I think a few of the clients have not realised that you need to really reconsider that for graphics, certainly when there's text on screen, because there's no way that your logo, your strapline and the sale point is going to appear vertically as it does sit in landscape.
Well, I mean, that's just a whole other strand of consideration anyway when it comes to animations, particularly because how many times we've been in a position, well, not so much these days, but in the previous years when would make something and then as we're delivering it, they go, all right, now we're going to make the square version. Just chop the sides off, but it doesn't work that way, does it?
No, but that's it. And understanding the atomization of what's going to happen to the video or videos that they're having produced means that they're not going to waste money we're going to have to, so now we need this in square, fair enough, compared to landscape or portrait, that can be done. But if it's going from landscape to portrait, then it's kind of like everything has to be almost remade.
Yeah,
so it's more time. It's more cost to them. Knowing that up front kind of helps us reduce that cost.
It's crazy, because when we were kids, obviously, if you were buying a VHS of a film and you were watching it at home, you're watching it on a 4:3 TV, a square. The films were widescreen.
Mm-hmm. Pan and scan. And it's crazy that we left that behind at one point, and now the software we use to edit has an automatic pan and scan feature, where it's like, if you want to create an Insta story version of this, a lot of it's automated, and that's what it's doing. It's pan and
We've
scan.
also got major feature films being produced in 4:3.
Yeah,
it's just trendy again, isn't it?
As Jamiroquai said, it's a crazy world we're living in. And he'd know. I've got a question from a viewer.
Oh, yeah?
Which we've sort of answered, but I'll say anyway.
Was it Sarah?
It wasn't my wife, no.
She doesn't watch Marc.
Oh, no. She didn't even know about the radio.
It's yours. It's what time we'll be home for tea, Marc. No, it's from Sam Wilcox, the marketing manager at Alt Labs, who said, is it better, she said, I know this is probably an obvious question, but is it better going to production knowing that you need to capture each of the different formats? So, for example, 9:16 for TikTok and Insta, and then 16:9 for YouTube, essentially, is it down to the client or their marketing department to be more organised? Haha. Which I think, the answer to that is yes. Obviously, if you know ahead of time before creating your video content, even if you're not sure that you're going to use these platforms, it's a massive consideration now, because your content does need to be spread across all the different formats to kind of...
Well, as an example, we had a very large project on which needed numerous videos filming for it, different products, and they had it needed atomising, but their marketing department realised what channels it was going on and what formats they needed. So when we reviewed the storyboards in traditional 16:9, when we put those into the portrait one, we knew instantly which shots were just not going to work, even with pan and scan. So when it came to filming the bulk of the work, we had like another shot for that specific shot in portrait, and it meant just moving the camera back to capture it all in the right proportions. Nothing went out of frame. So when it came to that edit, the edit was spot on. Didn't have to rethink anything, rescale anything, realise we didn't have the shot or anything. It just worked. So for them, they got it a smooth process because they'd considered what they needed from the very beginning. It let us do our job when it came to the storyboard. We was be able to use 90% of what we'd filmed in landscape for portrait, but there was a 10% we needed to make sure we captured it in a different way, different angle. It worked perfectly.
We should probably put a digital example of that storyboard on at this point, just to show. Because it did, just having the chance to do that made it really clear and obvious, like what needed to happen on the production day, which was obviously a massive advantage.
Yeah.
But again, it's known that you're going into the edit for these things, and the edit of a TV commercial versus, say, TikTok is just massively, massively different. So I'm going to bring up something else. It used to be called Facebook Blueprint. It's called Meta Blueprint now.
Oh, is it changed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Facebook's just part of the Meta family now, Marc. Where we're all
what's
going to be
Meta?
living in 5 years.
Don't answer it. Don't answer it. I don't even want to know.
Put your goggles on and we'll go and have a look.
It's this really cool thing, Marc, where you can just sit at home on your own with a headset on and pretend like you're around other people. Anyway, let's move on. Have you seen the TV adverts for it? Have you seen the adverts for it?
Yeah. The educational one.
There's people sat around a table like this and they're designing a shoe or something. So they'll all put their goggles on and they're all, Minority Reporting it with a shoe. It's like, what's the point?
You're not going anywhere.
You're already sat around the table.
You're not going to put that shoe on and use
Instead
it.
of drawing in the metaverse, why don't you draw on the whiteboard that's in front of you?
We're talking about...
anyway.
VR goggles, by the way, not swimming goggles. You're sitting there, why is it not working?
But he's got the ones that have got the water and the little fish in them.
You've got the ones with the thingy eyes on them.
Anyway, that's the metaverse dealt with.
That's back in its box. So
go on, you was going to say.
What I was going to say was it's a platform that gives training for companies exactly like ours who are producing the content for these platforms. And I must admit, it was a huge eye-opener, the first training that I did on it, just in terms of how much tighter, faster all the edits had to be, and how much shorter the duration of the content needed to be.
Yeah.
And all the facts and figures around audience retention, it was crazy. It's like you've got no time. And I said to Matthew, actually watching a lot of the edits, I probably preferred them over the original kind of longer form ones. And obviously on social, that's what you need. So it's a completely different ball game. So
it's a couple of seconds.
Well, they say the average attention span's 8, but I think that's too long. I don't think it is 8. So not in practice. And if you look at some of the stats, on a 30-second video that we'll upload to YouTube, the number of people that watch 15 to 20 seconds of it and then leave, it's crazy to me, but that's just the way it is.
I think people even leave content that they're enjoying. They just feel the need to. Yeah, I've seen enough of that now. Might follow up on it still, but
yeah, got the gist of it.
Well, there is just as I said earlier, there just is a lot of content out there, information overload. So, how are you going to stand out? Having said
things
all
like
that,
this podcast.
Haven't said, yeah. Well, yeah, we want to be part of the conversation, don't we?
Exactly.
Would you say that kind of a lot of the productions that we're doing now, just I kind of know the answer, but I'm asking this for the viewers really, that say you're doing a TV commercial or a corporate video, the value now of behind the scenes as to atomize what you're doing. I know it's not the final video that we'll talk about how you would atomize and break that down, but as kind of part of that system, that tool, as in getting more value for money from the production.
Well, we've just sent a script off this afternoon to a client that we're going to be shooting soon. It's for a 60-second advert, and it's moved on for, it was originally planned as an infomercial, long form, now it's short form, but it's still kind of infomercial type. It's very direct sales, and it's got to explain why the products are useful, give a little demonstration. There's a lot to pack into 60 seconds. So a key part of it is a little demonstration that anyone can do at home, but you've only got 60 seconds, so that's an example where we've come up with the idea of putting a QR code on the advert, and on the day that we shoot the advert, we'll shoot a little bit extra, and then there'll be a video that shows the full, test that you can do at home instead of just a little snippet of it. So people watching the advert can then scan the code. So when we told the client about this last week, they were delighted because it's no extra cost to them. It gives them an extra bit of content that they can use to help track the effectiveness of the campaign as a separate, just totally separate. It'll live separate from the campaign anyway. It'll just be a good bit of information on their website. So everything we're talking about is ultimately driven by the same thing, which is someone's come to us and saying, whatever the output is, whether it's number of views, clicks, sales, whatever, people that sign up for an event, doesn't matter. They have an objective, and all we're ever trying to do is meet that objective with the right mix of creative and platform. And I think that the script I just mentioned there and what we're going to do is a good example, but it's like over the last couple of years in particular, I don't think I've had a briefing meeting with anyone where I haven't pushed them on what do you want to do with this. And quite often they don't know, but it gets them thinking. And like Kev was saying before, even if they maybe say, right, well, we think it's going to be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and something else, and then in the end it's just one of those, that's fine. It's all about just planning ahead of time, because like you said, we are all about making their budget work the hardest it can work to get the most out of it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got various projects on the go, but kind of a lot of the talking head explanation kind of videos of like documenting projects, they're quite straightforward to atomize. There'll be the video, so they've got the full thing. Then there might be the chapters that speak about specific things about what's being done. So let's say there's 3 chapters, there's another 3, so that's 4 pieces of content that they've got. And then within those they've kind of got just really quick, succinct answers that explain like how great that somebody has found, working with this company or doing this thing or whatever it is. And if they're talking heads, you might have interviewed 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different people. Well, you could break them down into individuals, so there's another 6. So already from one production, you've got 10 bits of content that you can put out on different platforms. You choose wisely which ones need to go on which platform, but if there's 6, 10 people talking about how good this product is, that all goes on all your social channels. So then you've got 30 streams, if you like.
And I think a massive advantage of that is if we're making moving away from TV now, say we're just making a kind of like your classic online company promo video. And in that, similar to what you're saying, there's just a lot of talking heads, a lot of interviews. When you're talking to people, you might be sitting talking for 10 minutes. How much gets used in the video? 20 seconds?
Yeah.
So, but they might have some fantastic answers all the way through. So like you're saying, being able to instead of it just, staying on the cutting room floor, it gets used as content that probably is a bit more niche because it's a bit longer. So you might have 6 minutes of the same person talking. There's whatever the topic, there's someone out there that wants to hear about it. Mm-hmm. So having something that's a bit more niche, targeted all these different things, as you said, all these platforms, it will have a natural place to live where it does have huge value, and it's not just lost and discarded from whatever the original intent was. So yeah, it's huge. And another thing I was going to bring up was there's a lot of our clients now, obviously AI is a huge thing that everyone's kind of starting to get to grips with and see massive benefits of in the businesses.
I saw that film. When did that one come out?
Bloody good one, wasn't it?
It was lovely.
Oh yeah, watch that every year.
Yeah, if only the future was just a little robot boy with a teary eye instead of, Skynet, basically. Raining down nuclear fire on all of us.
How did it end? He just wanted to be loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, bless him.
Yeah. How did it end? It's quite a divisive end in AI, I must say. Some people hate it. Hate it.
Press the nuclear button or something.
No. You don't remember it. You don't remember the ending.
I remember he's at the bottom of the ocean at some point for some reason.
Well, yeah, he's there for, I forget how long, but eons of time. And then he's pulled out by aliens. Because, Spielberg, so gotta have some aliens in there. Chuck some aliens in for a bit of extra seasoning.
But our clients are interested in this AI.
Yeah, well, and one of the things we've been using is Otter, which is a transcription service, basically. But being able to transcribe the content from your videos. So there it is in Word format. And again, that just opens up another door to being able to use that for blog posts, LinkedIn, whatever you need. Ebooks as well. So yeah, it's...
Yeah, so we're not just talking about video content that you can atomize from your video. We're talking about other aspects, like you say, blogs.
Yeah, and we're guilty of it ourselves. I mean, that's what we're trying to do with this podcast. Marc was given a stick earlier because he said that in one of the audio-only versions of the podcast.
On their Spotify.
Yeah. We didn't cut out the video examples. One of them was just
so I was
music.
listening to it. It was like, and here's raw VT of our, explanation of our commercial project with no dialogue in. So it's just a music track.
I'll blame the artificial intelligence for that one.
It's like, have a look at this, everyone. Let us know what you think.
On every audio podcast, and if you're listening on audio, you'll see in the description a link to the YouTube playlist with all the videos of these. So if you do want to see how beautiful we look, join on YouTube.
You nearly kept a straight face there.
You will probably be disappointed. Yeah, shall we take a quick break there, lads?
Why not?
Regroup. Yeah. Why not?
Regroup.
Yeah. I thought that was the end.
What are you going to do? A couple of laps around the building and then come back? Get the old ticker going?
You'll find out. And we're back. We've done my laps round, haven't we, Matthew?
Matthew, how many steps are you up to today?
I don't know, Marc. I'll have to check. But I'm flattered that you care so much about my personal well-being that you want to check up on these things.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, it's only the rest of the world so far that doesn't know about this stuff. So,
that's what I wanted to check.
All 13 of our viewers can find out about it if you want.
Well, we'll come back to Matthew's step count on weekends, which is a disgrace. And we'll just wrap up quickly on what we've been talking about today in terms of what's the main benefit of repurposing video content.
The main benefit is that it does what we're trying to do for every client on every project, which is make the resources, the budget, go as far as it can go. So, a couple of recent examples where basically someone's come to us and said, will you interview a bunch of people and make a montage video of the responses? And we've had the conversation to say, well, yes, we can do that, but naturally there's going to be a lot of wastage there. Like you were saying before, you interview people for 10, 15 minutes, there's only so much you can put in. So, it's kind of, often it's for the same money or it's for just very slightly more. You can go, well, instead of just giving you that one output, we can give you all this over here. And in a world where, algorithm is king and post as much, particularly on things like LinkedIn, post as much content to kind of boost your profile is important. You're just giving people more bites of the cherry. You're literally giving them more bang for their buck. Not that we use that as a tagline, but that is kind of what we're about. It's one thing that we're about.
Absolutely. And it's always interesting what people's assumptions are on how long we actually store projects. Because we spend a lot of money on data storage for projects. They're big buggers. But we've got people coming to us all the time. Projects could be 4 or 5 year old. Project's still there. It's still there to be used. The biggest headache is obviously the software's probably gone on about 5 or 6 versions, so there's some repairs to make to the project itself, but it's still there to be used. So yeah, absolutely. All right, I think we can end that one there, guys.
But if anyone's got any further questions about atomising your content, please get in
Stick
touch.
them in the comments below, Mark.
Is that what we do?
That's what you
to
do.
the camera, stick them to the camera. If you're going to do it,
I was
do it
gesturing
professionally.
so you could do it.
I don't want to. You've just done it. You've stolen my thunder yet again, Matthew Newman.
Yeah, you were
if
just.
that is your name.
You were just about to say that, weren't you? You were just about to say that. Yeah. Anyway, is that the end?
Maybe. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're on the audio platforms.
Thanks for reading, if you're reading the blog.
The atomised blog.
See you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, bye.